What's up, everybody? So, in my last few videos, I've shared a little bit about how to manufacture the miraculous and how preachers create prophetic environments and do miracles and things of that nature. Today, I want to spend a little time sharing some of my thoughts about spirituality, since we're kind of in that realm. Before we do, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you like content like this and you want to support content, consider joining our Patreon by clicking the link in the description. So let's kind of jump into this conversation. My thoughts on this when it comes to spirituality is that I find it very difficult to separate what people often label or describe as spirituality from the domain of feelings and emotions. So emotions as complex reactions to stimuli that include mental states and physical changes can be powerful drivers of what we call spiritual experiences. Feelings as the conscious perception of these changes contribute to the deeply personal and subjective nature of spirituality. This understanding suggests that spiritual experiences are not external phenomena, but are deeply rooted in our cognitive and emotional processes. I've not experienced or seen any evidence for any form of spirituality that cannot be explained with an understanding of socio-cognitive processes of the brain, mind, and our interactions with the world of evolving and emotional and intellectual complexity. Every spiritual experience I've had and shared with others, both as a theist and an atheist, was a byproduct of my own mental faculties and a personification of shared social experiences. In that way, I see what we label as spirit as the activity of our minds as individuals and as sort of an emergent property that evolves from collective social identification as groups. In that way, a group of individuals choosing to identify together theoretically gives life to a new entity that often requires a new name, a separate backstory, and an active purpose. To kind of make sense, think about visiting a website where there is an About Us section, and that About Us section is about typically the company. It's not telling you the biography of the people who work at the company per se, but actually the backstory of the company itself. Which that typically that company will have a name, and that company will typically have a purpose. Even our relationship with God cannot be separated from our relationship with Google or even our relationship with governments, because at the end of the day, the phenomenon seems to be the same. The mechanisms underlying our engagement with spiritual entities are not fundamentally different from those that govern our interactions with secular institutions, technologies, or anything else for that matters. Um, and truth be told, this emphasizes the role of narrative, identity, and purpose in shaping our relationships with both the sacred and the secular, highlighting the cognitive underpinnings common to all forms of social engagement. Spirituality, to me, or at least what we label as spirituality, seems to be deeply rooted in how we identify with and relate to the world around us on an intimately cognitive level. The role of socio-cognitive processes in shaping spiritual experiences cannot be overstated. Our brains are wired to seek meaning, connection, and understanding, and spirituality often emerges as a response to these deep seated needs. The social aspect of spirituality, how it is shared, experienced, and interpreted within communities, further emphasizes its emergent, sort of constructed nature. This collective dimension suggests that spirituality should indeed be seen as an emergent property arising from the complex interactions within and between individuals, like birds locking into a V formation. Viewing spirit as an emergent property of collective social identification offers a compelling way to understand the diversity and adaptability of spiritual expressions across cultures and time periods. Just as individuals come together to form groups with shared identities, values, and purposes, these collectives can give rise to spiritual entities, as we call them, which are actually concepts that transcend individual experiences. This perspective aligns with theories in sociology and anthropology that views gods, spirits, and other supernatural entities as social constructs that reflect the values, fears, and aspirations of their communities. Loosely quoting from Brady Goodwin, fanatic and from Ichabod podcast, is God to humanity is man pulling him own self up by his own bootstraps. And so, what I like to kind of remind people of is that spirituality, rather than being a distinct or supernatural phenomenon, is deeply rooted in the cognitive, emotional, and social faculties that define the human experience. Um, this perspective, from my point of view, opens up rich avenues for exploring spirituality in a way that offers a more integrated understanding of how we find meaning, connection, and purpose in the world. By examining spirituality through the lens of socio-cognitive processes, we gain insights into the universal aspects of the human condition, as well as the diverse expectations, expressions, and experiences of spirituality that emerge from our shared and varied experiences. Um, at the end of the day, I see it very simply that spirituality is not something that is supernatural. I've not heard anyone give me a sufficiently supernatural explanation or even demonstration for spirituality. Every manifestation and demonstration of spirituality I have seen has ultimately been a human response to emotions, or a mental state, a mental change, or anything of that nature. And to be clear, if something is supernatural, that would literally put it beyond the natural, therefore restricting its ability to interact with or influence the natural world in any way, shape, form, or fashion, making it both speculative and irrelevant. What I'm more interested in is this form of contemporary spirituality, where we no longer pretend that the voice in our head and the feelings that we're following are nothing more than our own, or nothing more than the wonderful, beautiful world of our minds and the manifestation of how our minds interact with the world around us, including other people. That's my little spill on that. Thank you for spending this time with me. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this with anyone who you think may benefit from this type of information. And of course, if you're really looking to build community and to support content like this, make sure you don't forget to join our Patreon by clicking on the link in the description. Thank you, guys.